we'll start. Yeah. Just... Yeah.
But we won't do a call to worship yet. We'll do that in about 5 minutes more.
Okay.
Just keep what's going on.
Hazel. Morning, everybody. Not loud. And welcome to our service at Holcombe Brook Methodist Church today. And we welcome you whether you're here today or you are joining us online. Apologies for the delay. We've got a bit of a queue for coffee here. It's a own arrangement, cafe style, all age worship service today. So we'll see how that goes. And the theme is Psalm 139. We're just going to let people grab a coffee, so just bear with us a bit, and then Hazel will lead us in the call to worship. Have a coffee at home, yeah. Just while I'm here, there are a load of apples out there from David's garden still going, so if you want some, help yourself. And I don't know the full details, but there is a service today at Prestwich at 3 o'clock. I think it's a lay preacher's long service celebration, really, but I don't know any more details than that, unless... 3 o'clock, all are welcome anyway. Okay. Okay, and there will be testimonies from local preachers as well, so that will be quite interesting. Okay. Hazel, are you? Hazel's going to lead the service today, so see you later.
Good morning, everybody. So we are looking at Psalm 139. There are lots of colouring sheets. They're not just for children, they are for everybody. Please, they're just highlighting bits of the psalm that you can colour, or you can just take them home. I'm sorry if you're at home, I can't get them to you. There were rather a lot of them to add on, and I think people generally can't print them off at home, so apologies if you're at home. What? Okay. So, our call to worship, very much inspired by Psalm 139. We've come to worship God, who loved us before we were yet born, who knows us even better than we know ourselves, whose presence never leaves us, and whose love for us never ceases. This is our God. Let's worship together. And we worship as we sing, Praise My Soul, the King of Heaven. Just that nice little repeated praise him, which is hopefully accessible to everybody, and just talks of who we are in God. Sit or stand. have a very special event this morning. We have a very special episode of Mr. and Mrs. hosted by John Wilkins with Kate and Ian here as our guests on Mr. and Mrs. So over to you guys.
Right, so welcome everybody to Mr. and Mrs. And if Kate and Ian could come and join me as the lucky couple. Right, guys, do you want to stand on below me and I'll just oblige you better see the questions. Right. So, right. First of all, find out a little bit about Kate and Ian. So, where were you both born?
In Manchester.
Manchester.
I was actually born in Salford.
Salford, good.
But I grew up in Kent.
Grew up in Kent, okay. And where and when did you first meet each other?
So that was in Fallowfield in 2007.
2007. Okay. At University of Manchester. And how long have you been married?
Oh, coming up to 10 years in March.
Good one. Okay. And when did you move to this area? Well, you were in this area anyway.
2012? Yeah, we bought a house in Somerset in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are your lovely children's names?
Isabel and Eleanor.
How old are they?
So 6, but about to be 7 for Isabel and 4 for Eleanor.
Hello. Okay. Right. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions each, in turn, to see how well you know each other. Okay. Now, when I've asked you the questions, I'm going to do Ian first and then Kate. I don't want to tell me the answer. I want you to write it down on a piece of paper I'm going to give you. Okay. And then when we've done that, we'll get some feedback. Okay. Is that okay? Yeah. No pressure. All right. So I'll read the paper first. Oh, that's not good, is it? Okay. Right, Ian. Let's see how well Kate knows you. Question 1. Does Kate try and keep you quite healthy food-wise? Yeah. All wives do, don't they? So anyway, Kate goes away for a weekend with the kids, and you think, I can eat whatever I like now. You don't have to worry about being healthy. So which of these 3 cereals would you choose to eat? Rice Krispies, Frosties, or Cocoa Pops? Yeah, just... Okay. Eleanor and Isabel, I hope you're paying attention, because I'm going to ask you later. Right, question 2. Ian, you go into the bathroom, and there's a massive spider in the shower. Do you ignore it and hope it goes away by itself? Pick it up and put it outside? Or demand that Kate deals with it immediately? Okay, so that's it. Right, so let's see if you've got the same answers. Right. Question 1. Cereals. Rice Krispies, Frosties or Cocoa Pops? What do you reckon? Okay. Frosties, well done. Well done. The correct answer is Cocoa Pops, of course, as everyone knows it. Right. Okay, question 2 about the spider. Would you ignore it, hope it goes away, pick it up and put it outside, or demand that Mummy sorts it out? What do you girls think your dad would do? Daddy would throw it outside? And he would? Okay, very brave. And you get that, Kate? Oh, you're doing well. 2 out of 2. Okay, so Kate, the second set of questions are for you. Ian, how well do you know Kate? Right, have you got any pets? Yes. Okay, cats, okay. Kate, if you could be an animal for a week, which of these 3 would it be? A dog, a cat, or a horse? Okay, and question 2. Kate, if you could go on a dream holiday with Ian, which of these 3 would you choose? A South Africa wildlife safari, the Maldives for a relaxing romantic week, or the USA for a fly drive down the Californian Pacific Highway from San Francisco down to San Diego? Yeah. Yeah, I know. Okay, Ian, first question. Kate could be an animal for a week. What would it be? Dog, cat, or horse?
Well, as penguin wasn't an answer.
Right. Cat. What do you think, kids? What?
Penguin's a favourite animal. So.
Penguin. Okay, Isabel, Eleanor, which animal do you think your mom would like to be out of? A cat, dog and a horse just for a week, if she could be one of them? A cat. And what have you gone for? Cat? Very good, well done. Okay, and question 2, your dream holiday. Where do you think Kate would like to go?
He's really tight between 2 and 3, but I reckon Maldives.
Well done. That's brilliant. Well, you know each other very well. Okay, so thank you both for being such good sports. Thank you. Give them a big round of applause, everybody. Okay. So obviously Ian and Kate, they've been together quite a long time, 10 years, and they obviously know each other fairly well. But even they, after all this time, don't know everything about each other. They can't know what's in each other's minds at any moment in time. They can't know what is in each other's hearts at any moment in time. But as they continue their married life, they will get to know each other better, till they get to the point where, like my wife, she'll actually finish my sentences for me. There is, however, someone who does know us completely. Somebody who knows what's in our hearts, what's in our minds, knows everything about us. Who do you think that might be? God, Jesus. Thank you very much. That's right. So Jesus knows everything about us, what makes us happy, what makes us sad, what's in our hearts. And the wonderful thing is, even though we may have done things wrong, and there are things we want to hide from Jesus, he knows them, and he trusts us, and he loves us, and he wants us to be with him. So isn't that a wonderful thing? Okay. So we're going to reflect on that in Psalm 139, so we'll do a reading now. Just bear with me on the internet. So Psalm 139, first 6 verses. O Lord, you've examined my heart and know everything about me. You know when I sit or stand. When far away, you know my every thought. You chart the path ahead of me and tell me where to stop and rest. Every moment you know where I am. You know what I'm going to say before I even say it. You both precede and follow me and place your hand of blessing on my head. This is too glorious, too wonderful to believe. So we'll now sing a song again, and it's O God, you search me and you know me. Bernadette Farrell, 1992, OCP Publications. Thank you very much.
Oh,
Long before Jesus, there was a guy called Jonah. Jonah thought he could hide from God. It's not a good idea. Running away and going in the opposite direction, not a good idea at all. Just in case some people don't know the story very well, we have a very short version of the story. We do. It was working before the service. You just double click on it in the list, it might go.
Heroes of the Bible, Jonah. This is Jonah. Jonah was a prophet. That means it was his job to tell people what God told him to say.
Yep.
One day, God told Jonah to go to Nineveh because the people of Nineveh were doing bad things. But instead, Jonah ran away.
Where did you see?
And went to the port to board a ship, going the other way. He was hoping to get away from God. He sailed for a place called Tarshish. While he was at sea, God sent a great and powerful wind over the sea that caused a storm that seemed like it would break the ship apart. Fearing for their lives, the sailors tried everything they could think of to save the ship. Meanwhile, Jonah was sound asleep, so the captain went down and said, "How can you sleep at a time like this? Get up and pray to your God. Maybe he will help us." Then the crew figured out that Jonah was the reason for the storm. And they asked him, "Who are you? Why is this happening to us?" Jonah told them who he was and that he worshiped the one true God who made the sea. Then he told the sailors to throw him in the sea so the storm would stop.
No, why?
The sailors still tried to escape the storm, but it was no use. So they asked God for forgiveness and threw Jonah into the sea. The storm stopped at once.
Whoa!
The sailors were amazed at God's power and they vowed to serve him. Now God sent a great fish to swallow Jonah.
Great.
And Jonah was inside the fish for 3 days and nights. Jonah prayed to God from inside the fish, and God ordered the fish to spit Jonah out.
Yeah.
God told Jonah again to go to the city of Nineveh to tell them what God had said about them.
I get it.
This time, Jonah obeyed God and went to Nineveh to deliver God's message. The people of Nineveh stopped doing bad things and turned to God. They were saved because they listened to the message that God had given Jonah.
Gary, who's reading? You can do, yeah. Don't bring your microphone.
Thank you. So, I can never be lost to your spirit. I can never get away from my God. If I go up to heaven, you are there. If I go down to the place of the dead, you are there. If I ride the morning winds to the farthest oceans, even there your hand will guide me, your strength will support me. If I try to hide in the darkness, the night becomes light around me. For even darkness cannot hide from God. To you the night shines as bright as day. Darkness and light are both alike to you.
Thank you. So Jonah discovered that actually there is nowhere you can go to hide from God. You can run off in the opposite direction. You can end up inside a big fish. I don't think I'd fancy being inside that big fish. I think it was pretty smelly and yuck, full of guts and yuck. Not a good idea. I invite you though to think about, where do we hide? You know, we might not go off in the opposite direction to where we've been sent as such. We might not end up in a fish, but do we hide from God? I certainly know that there are times when I probably hide just by ignoring. I'll just get on with my own life and not bother about it. It doesn't work. I've just put onto your table some little sheets of cards. I invite you to rewrite a little part of that psalm, but thinking about, where do I hide? Yeah? Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I hide from your presence? If I go to maybe a faraway place you want to put in there, you are there. You might want to drive off somewhere, but God's there. I'm busy doing this, God's there. When I feel lonely, you're still there. Everywhere your hand guides me, and your right hand will hold me fast. I just want you to write what you think. Where would you say you hide? Where do you try to go off to? What do you try to hide in busyness? Do you try to hide yourself away in? So just invite you to just have a couple of minutes just thinking, how would you write that very personally about you? Where do you try to go and hide, or how do you try to go and hide from God? Write or draw as you wish to, how you think about that. And if you're at home, I invite you to get a pen and a paper and think about where you try and hide away from God, where you try to go off to. Maybe you do. I'll go off on holiday and God won't be there. Oh, yes, he will. Where do we hide from God's Spirit? think probably thoughts that people have put into that might well be very personal. You might not want to share them, and that's absolutely fine. They're very much between you and God. I'm happy to share what I've written down. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I hide? If I go to the mountains, you are there. If I hide away at home, you're there. If I try to ignore you, you are still with me. In my darkest, loneliest place, you hold my hand. You are always by my side. And that's God's love for us, his presence with us, which is just so amazing. Moving on towards the next part of the psalm, on your tables I've just put some green circles. And here's one I made earlier, was up here. Sorry, Lindsay. We're basically, here's one I made earlier. We are all unique. And we're going to make some unique patterns. We're going to fold our circle in half. Thank you, Isabel. She's sorting her table out. We give them out to people. And in half again. So you've got a beautiful circle like this. If you're at home, I again invite you to get some scissors and a piece of paper and join in with us. And then fold it into 4. Yeah. If you really want to be clever, you can go into 8 if you want to, but 4 works perfectly well. And then there are lots of scissors on your table, so hopefully there's lots of scissors that work. You need to cut out your own unique pattern. So it shouldn't end up looking like mine, it should end up looking quite a bit different. But to cut out your pattern, and when you've done that, to open it up, so we get a beautiful green snowflake. Green because it's about our life, and green because there's all this green paper at home that won't go through a photocopier, and oh, this is a good use for it. So, that's the real truth. Beautiful. People are still cutting away, that's lovely. When you're ready, you want to sort of open it up and hold it up so we can see. Our Jock's going for the complicated 8-fold. Oh, wow. Beautiful, Kate. You should be impressed. I'm very impressed with that. Quite good from up here. I can see around what's going on, and that we really are getting some beautiful, unique shapes going on. Okay, Jock's made a cup. Can you hold up what you've got at the moment so we just see how different everybody's looks? Some more, even more unique than others. So we've gone for a totally different take on this. But I'm not seeing, as I look around, I don't see any that are absolutely identical. And each one of us is unique. I decided to think about Psalm 139 2 weeks ago. We were at Refresh at Prestwich, and Jez showed Vettel's retirement speech from racing, in which he said, "People just see me as a racing driver. I am not just a racing driver. I'm also a father. I'm also somebody who loves people a lot. I really should have written down the things he said because I've forgotten what he said, but he talked about all the different aspects of his life. We are not just one thing. Very often people see us as just one thing. I was down at the vaccination centre yesterday, and there was a young man with Down syndrome came with his mum and dad. And Dad was saying to me afterwards, I said, "Are you Dad?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm just Edward's dad. I'm not even a person in my own right. Everybody knows him as, oh, that's Edward's dad." Yeah, not anybody else. And I think very often that's so. You know, we are the thing that we do as a job, or we are the person that we relate to somebody else somewhere. That's not who you are. Each one of us has an identity which is unique, and a lot of that identity is in God. I invite you to write on your snowflake, who are you? What things make you happy? What do you love doing? Who are you in relationship to other people? What makes you, you? Just like 1 minute, that's all, just the first things that come into your head, because otherwise we're still going to be here at tea time. So, what makes you, you? Who are you? Write or draw some things that really mean a lot to you, that are part of your identity. Perhaps while we're doing that, perhaps we'll read the next part of the psalm as well. I don't know who's reading.
Okay, you made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit them together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. It is amazing to think about. Your workmanship is marvelous, and how well I know it. You were there while I was being formed in utter seclusion. You saw me before I was born and scheduled each day of my life before I began to breathe. Every day was recorded in your book. How precious it is, Lord, to realize that you are thinking about me constantly. I can't even count how many times a day your thoughts turn toward me. And when I waken in the morning, you are still thinking of me.
Wow. It's just amazing, isn't it, that we met? And the idea that God knew us, not just before we were born, but before we were even conceived. And I know that my mum prayed for me before I was born. She had one child after being married for 4 years, and it was another 8 years before I came along, by which time she thought that was it, just having one child. So I can honestly say I'm no mistake. I am a pleasant surprise, but very late in her life. And it was a hard pregnancy, and I know she told me that she prayed for me. She prayed that I would survive and that God would use me. And I think her prayers have been answered. You know, I did survive, and I know God, and He uses me, and that's really wonderful. But God knew us before we're even conceived, let alone before we're born. Absolutely amazing. We're going to sing 2 songs. One is a bit high energy, so you are excused if you're older than me, you're excused from jumping around. If you're younger than me, no excuse. If I can do it, you can do it. We're going to sing I Love You, which talks about how God made us in a very special way according to His plan, very much reflecting those words there. And He looks inside us and He knows exactly who we are. So whatever we might look like on the outside, God sees us on the inside. And then we're going to sing Who You Say I Am, a song that I shared at the Songs of Praise that just speaks so much to me of how much God knows us, and at the end of the day, who we are, most importantly, is a child of God. So I think most of us need to be on our feet, because we need to have dancing feet on this song, and we're a bit high energy, we're a bit up there. Let's go.
Jesus looks inside my heart at who I really am. So I've got clapping hands, arms raised, dancing feet. to his plan. And Jesus looks inside my heart at who I really am. I might have gnarly knees, squidgy tongue, hairy toes and a wiggly thumb, but Jesus says to me, I love you. I might have spiky hair, a diddly chin, pointy ears and a cheeky grin, but Jesus says to me, I love you. 'Cause he made me in a special way according to his plan. And Jesus looks inside my heart at who I really am. So I've got clapping hands, arms to raise, dancing feet for all my days, 'cause Jesus says to me, I love you. 'Cause he made me in a special way according to his plan. And Jesus looks inside my heart at who I really am. I might have gnarly knees, squidgy tongue, hairy toes and a wiggly thumb, but Jesus says to me, I love ya.
Who am I that the highest king would welcome me? I was lost, but he brought me in. Oh, his love for me. Oh, his love for me. Who the sun sets free. Oh, it's free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. Free at last, he has ransomed me. His grace runs deep. While I was a slave to sin, Jesus died for me. Yes, he died for me. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am chosen, not forsaken. I am who you say I am. You are for me, not against me. I am who you say I am. I am who you say I am. Who the sun sets free, oh, is free indeed. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. In my Father's house, there's a place for me. I'm a child of God. Yes, I am. We are children of God, known completely and forgiven. I purposely left the next bit of the psalm in. I know it's very easy to decide you'll ignore these verses, but it says a lot about our relationship to the world around us and our attitude towards those who don't follow God at all, to injustice in the world, basically, and the bad things in the world. And it also says about how God forgives us too. And somebody's going to read. Go on, Scarlett. Go on, Scarlett.
Surely you will slay the wicked, Lord. Away, bloodthirsty men, be gone. The bless them your name, and stand in ignorance, arrogance against you. How silly can they be? O Lord, shouldn't hate those who hate you. Shouldn't I be grieved with them? Yes, I hate them, for your enemies are my enemies too. Search me, O Lord, and know my heart. Test my thoughts. Point out any you find me that makes you sad, and lead me along the path of everlasting life.
Thank you, Scarlett. Brilliant. So it talks about those who blaspheme against God, those who are arrogant. It doesn't mean we hate them. It means we hate the bad things that go on in the world, and we stand up and we speak out against injustice and people who have a really hard time. But then it talks about, search me, O God, know my heart, test my thoughts. It's actually quite easy to say they're really bad, and perhaps we don't always look at ourselves and think, what about me as well? Tell me anything you find that makes you sad, and lead me along the path of everlasting life. I forgot to pull the bubbles out, so we're going to have some bubble prayers. I want you to think about something that you want to say you're sorry for, and say sorry to God. And as we blow the bubbles and they float away, we imagine giving that prayer to God. And as they pop, just remembering that we are forgiven and that God is in charge. So I will bring bubbles to the tables, because you can't blow bubbles if you haven't got bubbles. So we use the bubbles basically as our prayers to say sorry to God. Soapy cakes. Far too much fun going on with forgiveness bubbles. We're going to pray very much together, very much using the words from the psalm. And we will put an amen on the end of it, so thank you, Lindsay. So let's pray these words together. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit and when I rise up. You know when I am full of hope and enthusiasm. You know when I am struggling to see a way forward. You know when my faith is alive and buoyant. And you know when I am full of doubt and dread. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You discern my thoughts from far away. You know my thoughts often clash with one another, that I'm sometimes full of certainty, sometimes full of disbelief, at times full of trust, at times full of questions, sometimes caring, sometimes selfish. And you know too that my mind wanders, sometimes visiting dark corners. O Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know me better than I know myself. You see me in the darkness and the light, and you understand, you care, and you lead me to long, long life. Amen. And we're going to sing Lord of Creation, to you be all praise. A song that really of dedication to God as we see how God is working in our lives, how close God is to us. Let's dedicate ourselves back to God. Thank you. To bless each other as we say the words of this blessing over one another. Yes. Let's say to each other, may you be blessed in your going out and your coming in. May you be blessed when you sit and when you rise. May you be blessed behind and before, and may God's hand rest upon you. Amen. I'm sure we have lots more coffee. If you're at home, you can go off and make yourself a tea or a coffee now as well. There's an awful lot of cakes on tables, as it will appear, with eating before you're not allowed home until you've eaten the cakes. Yeah? You can make a fresh pot of tea as well. The coffee will be okay. I think the tea will need a fresh pot. So, thank you. And yes, 3 o'clock this afternoon at Prestwich for that service of celebration of testimony with a very good... Susan, can you remember the name of the preacher? Alice and somebody. There we go. We're getting closer. Who we hear is very, very good. So if you've actually missed having a preach this morning, there's one available at 3 o'clock at Prestwich this afternoon. So, oh, yeah, do you want to? Right, we're organising a harvest supper on the 15th of October here at church with cars pasties, and we're looking for volunteers to make cake for afters as well. We just need to know that we're not charging, we've just asked for donations to cover the costs as you can. Really the whole idea being that we just all get together and just have a nice evening together. We've been such a long time since we've been able to meet just and be sociable and things. So there will be other things happening, but there will be food. So if you could well, she's run away. Jean's run away. I think there should be a sign-up sheet somewhere as well, because where people just take tickets, how will we know how many people have taken tickets? And please invite people as well who are around the place who you see to come along. So we have got tickets you can take to remind you, but I'm sure she was doing a sheet so we can just sign so we've got an idea, because obviously we need to know how many pasties to order, and volunteers to make cakes would be great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Last time, last night, we took a magazine to have a